time together today. We'll do some welcoming and a land acknowledgement, as well as some team introductions, and we'll have some opening remarks by our director at Department of Education and Early Learning, by Dr. Dwayne Chappelle. After that, we'll just do some high-level overview also of just our youth telehealth program and what other work that the City of Seattle is doing around youth mental health, as well as just brief timelines in terms of when we expect implementation to happen and when services will be available for our young people to access. And then we'll go into sort of the chunk of the presentation, which is getting to meet some of our providers, who they are, what types of services they're offering. Um, oh,
And they're like, why is this girl like
hello.
like,
I think someone is not on mute. I'm just gonna mute them 1 second. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Love technology. Yeah, and then we'll have some time at the end after the presentations for some FAQs and Q&A, as well as talking through this really cool toolkit that our team member, Christine, our communications advisor, put together to share out with you all. And then we'll do an exit survey, a quick exit survey, 5 questions, and then we'll close out. Cool. Next slide. Okay, so I'll read the land acknowledgement. The Seattle Department of Education and Early Learning acknowledges that we gather on Indigenous lands. Specifically, we are on the unceded ancestral lands of the Duwamish people, a people who have been and continue to be in the Seattle Greater King County area since time immemorial. While a land acknowledgement cannot undo centuries of injustice, it is one small action that we can take to honor Indigenous peoples and resist erasures of their histories. Next slide. All right. Here we go. So, hello, everybody again. I probably should have introduced myself at the beginning, but my name is Michelle Wong. My pronouns are she, hers. I am the K-12 mental health advisor with the Department of Education and Early Learning. For everyone here joining who's not doing sort of like the formal introduction, please share your name, your role, or your title, what organization you're representing, and your pronouns in the chat. We'd love to just see who's in the room with us. And then just share one word that describes how you feel about expanding youth mental health access. For me, I feel like this work has really been energizing. As some of you know, I'm relatively new to the department, and as a social worker, I've been wanting to get back into the mental health and systems change work. So I'm super excited to be able to support and amplify sort of the great work that our partners are doing and help remove access barriers to our young people. I will pass it to Amelia.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Amelia Moore. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Strategy and Engagement Manager with City of Seattle's Department of Education and Early Learning. And one word that describes how I feel about expanding youth mental health access, I would say humbling, in being able to work with all of our great providers that you're going to meet today, as well as the youth who really advocated for this funding and who were a big part of us being able to implement these services. Just seeing that commitment and passion across the community is very humbling, and really is an honor to be able to work together as a community to offer these services. And I will go ahead and pass it to Dr. Chris Alejano.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Chris Alejano. I serve as the K-12 Post-Secondary Division Director at DEEL and get to work with both Michelle and Amelia on a regular basis. Word to describe how I feel, just really excited. You know, a lot of our work in the mental health space was really more focused in the work that we support, or investments that we support through our school-based health centers that we have in Seattle Public Schools. But over the years, and given some of the advocacy done by youth and others, we've been fortunate to be able to shepherd and steward additional dollars across different kinds of mental health strategies, including the telehealth services that y'all will learn more about today. So I'm just excited that everyone was able to attend today and participate. To the providers, thank you all too for your efforts and work, both now and into the future. And then I have to say, I don't know how you pronounce your name. It's either Lyra Jackson or Lyra Jack. I gotta give props to your sweater game because you and I are completely twinning out today. I was just sort of like, why am I on the screen twice? So in any case, yeah, just wanted to shout you out there, and I'll pass it over to my boss man, Dr. Dwayne Chappelle.
Hey, thank you. And it looks like I'm part of the crew too, right? With the sweater game. So that makes the three of us. So that's we all on the same wavelengths. But good to see you all today. And this is not a prank. So this is just totally random. But good to see everyone today. I am Dr. Dwayne Chappelle, the proud director of the Department of Education and Early Learning, and my word is grateful. I am very grateful. Pass it back over to you, Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Dwayne. So do you have, I think the next part of this is some opening remarks, but before we do that and pass it back to you, Dr. Dwayne, we are recording the session right now. So I just wanted to let everybody know, especially those who kind of came trickling in. So we'll likely stop the recording before the Q&A session at the end. So just wanted to sort of give full transparency that this is being recorded. All right, pass it back to you.
Yeah, thank you. So, good afternoon, everyone. Super excited to be here. Thank you all for being here and for making this time to center something as essential as our youth mental health. For me, it means a lot. It means a great deal to see all of us, the community, come together with one shared purpose. And that's really to make sure that our young people in our city have access to the care, the connection, and the support that they need to thrive. And it's just not in the moments of crisis. It's really every day. And we know that mental wellness isn't just about services. It's really about the conditions that allow people to feel safe, valued, and seen. And that's what we're here to do, this work together. So most of you know, but I'll just say it anyways. At the Department of Education and Early Learning, we do believe that young people thrive when they experience dignity, safety, and a deep sense of belonging. Um, and those aren't just abstract ideas. They're really the foundation for the mental wellness and resilience. And it's been shaped by not just individual experience, but really the systems and the environments that we build together. So, in Seattle, what we've done, we've heard clearly, as Michelle mentioned earlier, from the youth, right? Just access to culturally responsive and timely mental health care matters. But what also matters are relationships, right? So, and when I say relationships, I'm talking about relationships with the adults who listen, with peers and who support them, with communities that make space for healing and growth. And I'll say, in the 2022-23 school year, more than 1,500 students access mental health care throughout the school-based health centers. And that number really represents the progress that we've made, but it's not enough. Um, that's why we've expanded the telehealth options this year through partnerships with the community-based organizations and virtual providers like, and you all know, Talkspace in June. But these services ultimately, what they do, they aim to meet youth where they are with confidentiality and cultural care and consistency. But I'll just share that access really isn't the only part of the equation. I think we all know that the real question is what makes a young person feel seen, what makes them feel heard, what makes them feel safe enough to ask for help, and really to be supported enough to stay engaged with and we know that's hard, especially when it's hard. And I'll just share that growing up, I know I was really shaped by my dad, my grandparents, my mom, and the other elders in the family. But they didn't really use the word mentor, but really modeled it for me. And they modeled it by whether it was sharing stories or showing their patience with me, or really just believing that I had something to offer. And I didn't really know until I was older, that and I took on a mentor myself, and really started learning about the power of mentorship, and that helps with alleviating trauma. And so I just wanted to just really just share that, but also connected to that as a city, um, we are still reckoning with this generational trauma, with the structural inequities, the uncertainty now about our future, right? With the growing urgency, really, to invest not just in our programs, but really, as I mentioned earlier, in relationships. And I'll tell you what gives me hope is that, like, our Seattle's young people are not waiting for someone to define the future for them. They are speaking up, asking for care, and they're showing us what it means to be resilient. We know they are, and they're just showing us. So I know you've heard it earlier, but I just again want to thank everyone, every partner that's here today, whether you're a clinician or an educator or an advocate, or students, if there's any students here, for really for the role that y'all have played or that you're gonna play in making this future possible, making our future possible. So I'll close with saying let's just keep showing up for our young people, and let's show up for them with our compassion, with clarity, with courage, and the same sweater if you choose to. But thank you all, for allowing me to speak, and I'll pass this back over to you, Michelle.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Dr. Dwayne Chappelle. Great hearing from you. All right, so let's dive in. If at any point anyone has any questions that you would like to ask, something that came up, please feel free to put it in the chat and we'll definitely have a time at the end to revisit the questions. Okay, pass it to you, Amelia.
Thank you so much, Michelle. I also have a striped sweater and wish I'd gotten the memo because we all could have been twins. But again, great to be with you all. For those of you just joining, I'm Amelia Moore, with City of Seattle's Part of Education and Early Learning. On this slide, we're just giving you a high-level historical overview of some of the recent investments that the city has made in youth mental health. And as Dr. Chappelle and Michelle both called out, and we're sure to center, none of these investments would be possible without the youth-led advocacy that led to us being able to secure funding. And that began in 2022 when we received funding for a small student mental health supports pilot. We launched that in 2022 with 5 high schools and 2 middle schools. Really allowed us to have a school-centered and community-centered mental health approach that was based on youth advocacy. We did a lot of learning in that space that has also informed some of the current investments. In 2023, youth continued to advocate for increased resources, and Seattle City Council was responsive to that and approved additional funding in the 2024 budget to continue to expand mental health resources. In 2024, the Innovation and Performance Department published a very comprehensive research report that was based on very extensive outreach that they did with youth, community members, school members. Probably folks on this call here were a part of that report. And that was published in 2024. And based on that research and the outreach that they did in community, they formed key recommendations about how the expanded mental health resources should be implemented and what those should look like. And that brings us to 2025 and then going forward. Currently, we have launched free telehealth services. Those are free for every Seattle youth, roughly age 13 to 24. We are also, and I'll get more into the specifics of this, in the process of planning and launching something we're calling the Community Hub. And then we're working closely with our partners at Public Health Seattle King County to hire additional mental health counselors as well as care coordinators in all of our school-based health centers. As we enter into 2025, we're really excited to be able to offer the telehealth services. We have a kind of broad definition of what we mean by telehealth services. And our telehealth partners, for our community-based partners, they're offering both in-person and virtual therapy in one-on-one and group formats. Those are always offered through licensed therapists and counselors. They utilize video, audio, and text chat features in their services to youth. And all of these services are part of an integrated suite of mental health supports that the city is committed to offering to Seattle youth. One thing we definitely heard loud and clear from youth is that they don't want a one-size-fits-all approach, and that we need to be more nimble and responsive to their needs. And that's what we are working closely with our partners to be able to offer. And I'll pass it back to you, Michelle, just to go over some of the activity that's been happening.
For sure. So here we wanted to just share like a brief overview of our telehealth implementation timeline and sort of what to expect in terms of service provision and when you can get access to specific services, right? So we're in April. We have finalized most agreements with our telehealth partners. Talkspace and June are already offering services. Like we have young people engaging in teletherapy right now with these partners. Our other partners are just starting to ramp up services, and this will likely continue throughout May as organizations begin to hire, onboard, and expand capacity to serve more young people throughout the summer. Services will continue to be available in the summer months, and then come August and back to school season, we plan to present and champion a few mental health wellness campaigns. So TBD on those details, with the hope that once school starts, we'll be strengthening our partnerships with schools to help increase utilization and to really make sure that young people know that these services are available if they need them. Next slide. Pass it back to you, Amelia.
So in designing these supports, we wanted to center and honor the role that youth-led advocacy played in securing this funding, and also what we heard from youth about really wanting to be involved in shaping these investments. I know all of you work with youth, and this is very much an activist generation. They want to be a part of the supports that and the design of the supports that are being offered to them. The Innovation and Performance Department, as well as us at DEEL, have consulted with youth across a range of spaces, and really we are trying to be responsive to what we're hearing in the design of these supports. When we spoke with youth who were interested in pursuing clinical mental health supports, they really did want a range of options, both in and out of school, where they have a choice of providers and programs, and most importantly, where therapy is designed for easy access. And they also voiced the need for culturally specific and responsive care with providers who represent the backgrounds and identities of our Black, Indigenous, and people of color youth. You can see those values reflected in the youth quotes that are on the slide. I'm just going to read them. One student said, "We need more therapists being able to talk on demand." And another states, "I want to talk to someone who has been through what I've been through, who looks like me. I want a therapist who is Black and also a woman." And so we're really excited to introduce you to our provider partners today. They're really working to meet these youth demands and remove barriers to care. This slide provides a bit more detail about our comprehensive suite of resources. These are designed to work together, to be coordinated and streamlined, and really is our effort as a city to be reflective of the youth advocacy demands that we have heard. So for virtual care and telehealth, you're going to meet our 6 local provider organizations. They all have significant expertise on offering culturally specific and responsive care that's very attuned to our diverse Seattle communities. It's also designed to reach our youth who are in the greatest need of care. You're also going to meet our 2 comprehensive virtual providers who offer care that's widely accessible and that's removing barriers. We're also expanding in-person services through our school-based health centers. So in close partnership with Public Health Seattle King County, DEEL funds the school-based health centers at 29 of our Seattle public schools, and that includes 7 middle schools and 14 high schools. Within those school-based health centers, there already is one full-time mental health therapist. We are in the process of adding an additional mental health clinician, as well as a behavioral health coordinator at all of the middle and high school school-based health centers. So that's 21 total. Hiring is underway now, so some of those positions will be in place this spring, but we're looking at full launch in school year 2025 and 26. We also, of course, heard from youth that clinical interventions alone are not always the answer. Youth are really calling for more access to enrichment opportunities, to social emotional learning, to just opportunities to be outside, to create community together. So we're also exploring non-clinical interventions. We're working across the city, cross-departmentally with our friends at Seattle Parks and Rec, as well as Seattle Arts. And we are planning something that we're calling the Community Hub. It's an approach to offer in-person, non-clinical mental health and wellness services. Those services will be focused on cultural wellness, enrichment, social emotional learning, and coping skills. And we are looking to launch that this summer, summer of 2025, at select community centers through parks. So really excited about Community Hub and more to come on that. And I'll pass it back to you, Michelle.
All right, thank you, Amelia. Okay, so we've come to the part of the show where we actually get to meet the stars. So for this part, we are going to be introducing our community-based, Seattle-based telehealth providers. So next slide, Amelia. Just a quick intro of like snapshot of who's here in the room with us, in this virtual room with us. We have Asian Counseling and Referral Services, Consejo Counseling and Referral Services, Odessa Brown Children's Clinic, Seneca Family of Agencies, Southwest Youth and Family Services, as well as Therapy Fund Foundation. Right, next slide. So super excited to introduce Mervin and Christina, and we're excited to welcome ACRS to share more about their program model.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. I guess I will kick us off. So, like Michelle said, I am representing Asian Counseling and Referral Service together with my colleague Christina. And currently, I am the Assistant Program Supervisor. And just a brief overview, Twitter character limit version of ACRS. So we were founded in 1973, and it was a time where Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders were at higher risk of just misdiagnosis and just receiving unhelpful care, especially from providers that were kind of unfamiliar with our culture and our language. So that was where it was born from. And today we provide just a continuum of just services for primarily low-income immigrant, refugee, American-born Asians, and also Pacific Islanders. We have multiple programs, and just some of the programs that we are highlighting right now. We have aging and adult services. We have chemical dependency treatment. Christina and myself, we represent the Children, Youth, and Families department. We also have civic engagement, citizenship, and the list goes on and on. So right now, I'll just pass it on to Christina, who will just dive deeper into the specifics.
Sure. Thank you, Mervin. So with this wonderful partnership that we have, we've developed a telehealth for youth program to expand access to telehealth services, to mental health services for our youth in Seattle. And with this new program, we will provide short-term mental health services, and that includes a wide array of different services from intake and assessment to case management and care coordination. These services can be telehealth and in person, and we provide individual therapy and group therapy. We do have locations that are staffed by our clinicians in Seattle, Kent, and Bellevue. Our program is specific to middle school up to 24 years old. Our referral and enrollment process, the link to our referral is actually embedded in this presentation. However, you can call our referral intake and referral specialist, May Tam, and May's email is also located here as well. And enrollment usually takes about 7 to 14 days. And each case is unique depending on the individual's needs and capacity. And we do provide services in various languages. We do weekly, bi-weekly sessions depending on the unique needs of the youth that we serve. Our agency is open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we are really excited to launch the program. We've already started recruiting for our group services, and that should be starting in the next few weeks. So excited to be here. Thank you.
So thank you so much, Mervin and Christina. And we'll move on to the next provider. Oh, okay. So Consejo unfortunately wasn't able to have someone come and represent their organization today, but I will just do a quick overview of how to get engaged with their services. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Consejo, they're a culturally responsive behavioral health and prevention service provider. Across Washington State with a focus on the Latine and underserved communities. They provide different therapeutic interventions, programs, school partnerships. And so through this investment, they are going to be offering individual and group therapeutic services for youth in middle school age up to 18 years old. Here's their referral process. There's if you have a referral, you can send it to the email that's in this slide. Also, just this slide will be shared with everybody after this presentation is over. And then somebody from Consejo will notify and kind of coordinate to kind of do a match. The virtual intake scheduling wait time is about 2 to 3 weeks. I think frequency will vary, as with some other providers, depending on the client's needs and their treatment goals. There's no limit and maximum number of sessions for any given participant, and sessions are going to be available during school and after school hours. Consejo will be providing services in English and Spanish. And yeah, just a quick overview. So if there are other questions, please feel free to put them in the chat, and we'll definitely be sure to bring them back to our Consejo partners. Thank you. All righty. We'd like to welcome the team from OBCC. Cora Weed is the Service Lines Director, and Reggie is the Manager of the Clinical Operations. And yeah, we'll pass it to them.
Thank you all. Thank you, Michelle. It's a pleasure to connect with everyone. And as I mentioned in the chat, I am beyond excited for this initiative to be underway. I think we have the potential to serve so many youth who otherwise wouldn't be receiving services. But I will share a little bit of information about OBCC and the offerings that we will have for the youth. So at OBCC, as you can see here, we will be serving any and everyone who is interested in connecting with services that meets the guidelines for this initiative. We'll offer telehealth options. Oh, excuse me. Allowing for choice in selecting providers. We want to offer culturally specific services and tailor supports to the individual's needs. This program will involve collaborations with all of you, hopefully, in some fashion or form, but the schools that we're already serving in, as well as other schools within Seattle Public Schools and other community organizations. We want to be of as much value and use for the communities that we're serving as possible. As you can see, here is a link to our website and our Instagram and Facebook accounts. But specific to this grant, our services will be telehealth only, and we will offer one-to-one brief intervention therapy. Those sessions will last anywhere from 4 to 6 sessions, and peer support groups, which will be anywhere from 10 to 15 sessions, and educational sessions that'll be on a drop-in basis, and they'll usually last around 2 hours. For enrolling in services, you can contact the phone number listed in the PowerPoint or also the email. And another option for folks who are interested is to just walk in to the clinic. Our registration team is happy to get folks connected to services. In terms of languages that we will provide services in, our primary languages are that we offer services in are English and Spanish, but we also have interpretation services for up to 200 languages, either via telephone or virtually via Zoom. Our program lead is our clinical director, psychologist, Dr. Kristen Menengen. And we will serve everyone from middle school age to age 20. For those who are interested in services that have aged out of our demographic, we'll connect them to another participant or to other participants in the grant. Our enrollment window is 1 to 6 weeks, and that's largely dependent upon where sessions are in terms of group therapy. If a person enrolls when we're nearing the end of one session, it'll be easy for them to just roll over into the next one. And for brief intervention services, it's likely that a person will be seen closer to that 1 to 2 week window as opposed to waiting 6 weeks for services. As I mentioned before, in terms of sessions and frequency, for brief intervention, 4 to 6 weeks, and for group therapy, up to 12 patients with anywhere from 10 to 15 appointments. And here is the contact information for our program lead, Dr. Menengen.
Awesome. Thank you, Reggie.
Oh, thank you.
Also seeing a ton of really, really great questions coming in through the chat. So this is exciting. All right. Next, I'd like to introduce our partners from Seneca Family of Agencies. Daniel and Dashika, I'll pass to you.
Thank you, Michelle. Hi, my name is Dashika. I'm a clinician and program supervisor at Seneca Family of Agencies, and I'm here with my colleague, Daniel Perez, who's going to share more about our program.
Thanks, Jessica. My name is Daniel Perez. I am our Director of Integrated Partnerships with Seneca Family of Agencies. So I'll kind of give just like a real quick brief overview of what we are, and then want to dive into what we're really excited to do with DEEL. So we do provide some comprehensive mental health services throughout school-based services, as well as that we have an outpatient clinic in King County. We also have services out in Pierce County, as well as a wraparound WISE teams in both Pierce and in King County to provide mental health services and family supports. And so I do see some of the questions around extended family students providing supports to our students' families. We do in those contexts as well. We are able to provide some family therapy, and our WISE teams do go into the home. Thinking around this, working with DEEL and telehealth, we could also absolutely work within families and family therapy should families be interested in that. So that's definitely on the table. We'd love to collaborate around that piece, as well as thinking about students with disabilities. I guess I'm a little curious as to if there's anything in particular you're thinking about, given that we are working with telehealth. Maybe I'm thinking like access around keyboards. It's something that I think we can find some ways to work around and support as well. So I don't want to rule that off the table and think that we can be creative to support those pieces. But we also, to kind of backtrack a little, we do also work with our juvenile justice team in King County, which Jessica heavily leads as and a part of, and so do work with youth who are coming through the juvenile justice system and providing mental health supports for that. But within this, the DEEL contract that we have in particular, we're really excited about and thinking about offering some one-to-one individualized, trauma-informed, culturally responsive therapy. Again, we can include some family therapy into that as well. the best way to get us a referral is through the link that I did provide in here, or you can reach out to myself and Deshka individually. We're happy to get you that information directly. And we try to, we do have some our primary languages that we do speak is Spanish and English, and we do have access to translation services to help support various other languages throughout Seattle. We are working with youth who are middle school age up to 24, happy to work with any age group around those pieces. And we are hoping to begin services later on this month. So within the next few weeks, really get into diving into some of those pieces. The sessions can happen as frequently based on the level of care. So maybe a family or youth might have a more intense level. We can meet more frequently, have longer sessions. So really dependent on that and being very much client driven and centered around those pieces. Yeah, and so sessions can be available during school hours, after school hours, late afternoon. There is some flexibility around those pieces. And I'm also just seeing the other one, the question just come in the chat around estimated capacities for our numbers and students. Yeah, we're hoping to reach up to like 24 students within our program at the moment. So hope that helps answer some of that question. And right now we're open, so we're taking up a list so that we can begin those services and start collecting those 24. Again, yeah, so contact information is listed. Please feel free to reach out to Deshka or myself. There is a nice little referral form. The only thing to note is on the referral form, because we do offer some other services, it's just to check the virtual box, and that virtual box will ping it to us to make sure that we're reducing virtual therapy. We've done it within our outpatient clinic a little bit, so it's going to be really nice to focus solely on doing some virtual telehealth pieces within this. Thank you.
And Amelia also very kindly dropped a link to our referral form in the chat, so you can access it there. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Amelia.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel, and thank you, Deshka. So many great questions. We're definitely, like my team is logging them in the background, and we'll definitely have an opportunity to answer all of these questions with time at the end. So crossing our fingers, here we go. Okay, so now we'd like to welcome the team from Southwest Youth and Family Services. Ben and Winter, y'all there?
Hi, yes, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Happy to talk to you a little bit about Southwest Youth and Family Services. My name is Ben Berger. I'm the Counseling Center Director at Southwest. Winter is here with me, and she is our Associate Counseling Director.
Hi.
So I just want to first start by saying that Southwest, for about the last 40 years, has been serving the South King County area. So that is our focal area, is South King County, Seattle, Burien, White Center, Des Moines, SeaTac, etc. That being said, we are spreading our counseling services wherever we are needed and able to provide services. So schools in the middle and other parts of Seattle are more than welcome to refer to us. We focus on culturally humble services for the populations that are in South King County. So this is a lot of Spanish speaking, East African, Cambodian, and other particular demographics. I will say the Cambodian Community Council of Washington coexists in our Southwest office. So that is where a lot of our Cambodian supports come through. We offer a lot of programs. I'm going to try to focus on counseling, but I will just say we have an education center, we have family advocacy, and our New Futures program exists in apartment buildings in South King County. And we have a case management program as well. So if anyone has questions about those, you're welcome to contact me. I'm happy to share more information offline or at any other point. Counseling, we focus on individual, group, and family counseling, especially for elementary age children. We serve 5 to 25, but for this contract, we will say 24. Year-old individuals, and for younger individuals, we do strongly encourage and try to require family involvement. So family therapy is definitely something that we are interested in offering to as many of our clients as possible. We work in a lot of schools. In Seattle Public Schools, we're in over a dozen schools, so we are happy to come to schools. Our telehealth model is really a telehealth to in-person model. We believe our in-person work is really stronger than over telehealth. And so while we are able to meet anyone over telehealth, we hope to meet people in person as much as possible. One of the major assets of telehealth we found is engaging families when we are working with clients or children under 13. Being able to bring families into the intake process via telehealth breaks down a lot of barriers that a lot of parents and guardians otherwise face. Um, Other than that, I will say we always offer services in English and Spanish, and currently we have providers who are able to offer Spanish, Portuguese, Tigrinya, Japanese, Vietnamese, and French services as well, while we're always looking to increase our language provision. I think I'm going to leave it at that. I will say insurance is not a barrier. We have contracts with the city of Seattle that allow us to serve anyone in the city of Seattle or who attend Seattle public schools. So we will find a way to serve anyone regardless of insurance status. Winter, do you have anything you wanted to add?
Hi, I'm so sorry. My house is very loud. It's my most busy. Sorry. I'm so sorry. It's after school time. Can you go see Dad? No. I am so sorry, everybody. Yes, all of our services are free of charge. We bill either Medicaid or City of Seattle, or our DEEL grant is helping us support what we call a Southwest slot under this contract. I will say we hired 2 clinicians already for this contract, and they actually started in January. So we've been in good faith, like fulfilling this since. They're both female-bodied and Spanish-speaking. Things that I would want you all to know that is special about Southwest is that we are open till 7. And we prioritize family work, like Ben said, and that we also, some of our counselors have had the same clients for 11 years. So if this contract were to disappear one day, that would not mean that if the clinician and the client and their family, so sorry, you guys can establish good care with us, we would still keep them and find out a way to keep them within our Southwest family. I'm distracted, so thank you. Nice to meet you all, and hope for more collaboration in the future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ben and Winter. And no need to apologize. I think life's right. So life be lifing. Okay. Next, I would like to welcome the Therapy Fund Foundation team, Jaquel and Ashley. If you're here, I'm passing it on to you both.
Oh, my daddy. Hi, everyone. I am Jaquel. Sorry, it is after school hours here as well. I am Jaquel. I am the Director of Programs at the Therapy Fund Foundation. My pronouns are she, her. I will give you a little bit overview about our program, and then Ashley will say a couple words. We do telehealth and in-person. We're going to offer one-on-one and peer support groups. We serve all ages. We serve all of Washington State. We will offer each participant 20 therapy sessions. All of our providers we make sure they are trained in anti-racism before working with any of our applicants. We have over 150 providers that partner with us. Ashley, did you want to say anything?
Yes, my name is Ashley McGirt. I'm the CEO and founder of the Therapy Fund Foundation. I'm also a licensed mental health therapist, and I founded this organization in 2020 amid the pandemic and exacerbated racial stressors with the murder of George Floyd, and the need for just mental health support. And being a Black therapist like myself, we're a unicorn. There's so few of us. And when I was reaching out for other support from my colleagues, many of us were burning out, low reimbursement rates. So we have a unique model that really centers partnership, and we take pride in the fact that we pay our clinicians an adequate wage, more than what the typical insurance does, and we don't have have the difficult reimbursement processes, as well as covering things such as racial trauma, which isn't recognized in the DSM. And yeah, so Jaquel shared that we serve everyone throughout the state of Washington, all ages. But for this particular program, it's going to be just youth under 24. And that 20 therapy sessions is something that we're able to do with the funding from this. So other individuals who come to us, they're only able to receive 8 therapy sessions. They can reapply as we have funding available, but sometimes we have grant funding that is restricted like this one. So it has certain parameters just around how many sessions and what we can pay. We also host the only Black-led behavioral health conference on the entire West Coast, which is dedicated toward improving mental health outcomes for communities of color, and our youth ambassadors help lead that. This year's theme is all around decolonizing therapy, which is a lot of the work that we do here at the Therapy Fund Foundation as we reclaim wellness and what that means to connect back to our birthright, especially as Black people who have, historically been excluded from sound mental health services. And the majority of our providers are Black clinicians. There's only 4% Black clinicians throughout the entire United States. So that means for every 642 Black people, there's only one Black therapist available. So there's just not enough of us. So we do also partner with clinicians who are non-Black, who are, as Jaquel mentioned, trained in anti-oppressive psychotherapeutic practices. They've done some sort of training outside of their school and really done the work to ensure that they can work with our communities. It's not a Teach for America program. You have to have proven that you've done the work within Black communities before we approve our providers. So we really take pride in that. But yeah, that's some of the work that we're doing, and we're super excited to be able to offer this to our youth, because as a small organization, sometimes we just don't have enough funding for all the people who reach out to us, especially being the only Black-led organization that's really focusing on Black mental health and what that means within our community.
Thank you, Ashley and Jaquel, for that great overview. All right, let's move on. Okay, so we've come to the part where we are going to be meeting our virtual-only providers, June and Talkspace. Amelia, go ahead and the next slide. Sorry, I had something in my throat. All right, DJ, I'm going to pass this on to you.
Awesome. Hi, my name is Danielle Juris, but you can call me DJ, and I'm the head of programs and product here at June, and I'm joined by Lauren Hammond, our colleague and our senior manager of clinical services at June as well. What we're going to do today is walk you through an overview of how we can help meet the needs of your students. Will you go to the next slide, please? So June's program supports youth ages 13 to 24. When you sign up for services at June, we will match you with a therapist within 24 to 48 hours, and you can be in your first session within 3 days. And so it's a quick apply to service timeline, which allows you to get the services that you need quickly, or students to get the services that they need quickly. Any youth who participates in our program has access to 12 to 20 therapy sessions, and that's based on clinical need. So when they meet with their therapist for their intake session, the therapist will work with the youth to develop a personalized plan that will determine the number of sessions that youth will leverage as a part of the program. We can go to the next slide. When you engage in therapy at June, it's easy to access. So all of the therapy that we offer is teletherapy. It's live one-on-one sessions with a dedicated therapist. So youth will meet with the same therapist repeatedly over the time that they work with June. In addition to having that live face-to-face session with their therapist on a recurring basis, youth also have the opportunity to leverage our app-based experience where they can log their mood, tell us how they're feeling, and work on different skills, coping skills and things that may help them enhance their therapy journey along the way. And all of those things are available to them right in the June app, so in the palm of their hand, and they can access it anywhere. Our services are available Monday through Sunday, so 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. So it fits the schedule of any youth, and as busy as they are, we want to make sure that we can always provide them a therapist that can meet them at the times that are most convenient. And because therapy is done right from their phone, it can happen in the comfort of their own home. It can happen in any safe place where the youth feels like they want to access that therapy service. We can go to the next slide. All of our therapists at June are licensed, experienced, and culturally responsive. So every therapist that works on the June platform is licensed in the state of Washington. So anyone that you're paired with will be a licensed therapist. We vet our therapists very stringently to ensure that they have experience working with teens and young adults. One of the most important parts of the June program is that we focus only on youth ages 13 to 26 for this program, 13 to 24. So we specialize in working with teenagers and young adults, and our therapists are the same. Coming in, they demonstrate experience working with this age group and demographic to ensure that when they are paired with youth, they are able to understand their lived experiences and help them through anything that they may need to work through. Additionally, our therapists are culturally responsive, so they come from a variety of backgrounds and are trained to support all communities with sensitivity and respect. Not only do we vet for therapists who have experience working with this demographic of youth, but also we work to make sure that they are continually learning and building on our platform. So therapists at June engage in weekly consultation sessions where they can work together to build their skills, acumen, and caseload, and make sure that they're really using the best practices and always growing their craft. Additionally, we have trainings and CEs that we pay our therapists for. So they are paid to be educated on our platform to ensure that they always have best practices and know exactly how to bring those to youth that they serve. We can go to the next slide. Anyone can join our program, ages 13 to 24, and they can be referred in several different ways. So youth can self-refer. In the state of Washington, the age of consent is 13, so any 13-year-old or older can self-refer on our platform. Additionally, they can be referred by anyone outside, so an adult from a school staff, their parent, their community member, or even their peer can refer youth. If you refer youth to our program, we'll contact that youth and help them get started with services, and so we'll make sure that everything happens that needs to happen in order for them to begin very quickly. In addition to being able to accept self-referrals and family referrals, we also offer partnership with parents as a part of our program. So whether a youth self-refers or is referred by someone in the community, youth can choose whether or not they want to engage their parents in therapy. If a youth chooses to engage their parents, we offer monthly check-in sessions where parents can connect with their youth and the therapist to learn more about what's going on, make sure that they have all the tools that they need to support their youth at home. And so this is a collaborative partnership across the entire family. If you could go to the next slide. In addition, we offer parent guides. These are not just for parents. These can be used by school staff or anyone who is interested in learning more about any of these topics. They can be found on our website, but they're comprehensive guides written by our clinical team that help you as the parent or staff member to help youth who are struggling with any of these topics that are listed here and many more. We can go to the next slide. To get started with June, it's very simple. We have a therapist request form on our website that you would fill out. If you're referring a youth, you would fill that form out on their behalf. There's some information that's required, the youth's name and one way to contact them. So it's very simple and easy for you to complete. Once that form is filled out, we match them with a therapist within 24 to 48 hours. Our matching process leverages any preferences that youth may have for their therapist. So if they would like to have a therapist of a certain gender or race, we are able to accommodate those things. But the most important thing that we look at is the specific things that the youth is looking to get help with. And we want to make sure that we match them with a therapist who has the skills and expertise to support them through those concerns. Once the youth is matched with a therapist, we schedule their first session. That occurs within 3 to 10 days, depending on the youth's availability. That first session or our intake session is where the youth works with their therapist to determine what their specific needs are. And then the therapist builds that personalized treatment plan that's shared with the youth and their family if the youth chooses that. And it outlines how many sessions the youth will have and what they'll focus on. Once that treatment plan is sent over, we begin scheduling regular sessions and then youth can meet with their therapist. As we mentioned, we're available from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m. And so youth have the ability to have that flexibility in their schedule 7 days a week. And therapy sessions generally occur once a week, but could be more often or less often if that's the appropriate thing for that particular youth. We can go to the next slide. Getting started with June is simple. As soon as you fill out the therapy form and get your therapy match, then we'll have you download the June app. It's very easy to access. And so this is what it looks like in the App Store. You can get it in the Google Store or in the App Store on Mac, and that will give you the opportunity to very easily access sessions. The app is only for youth, so if parents are participating in the program or wanting to learn more about the therapy services, you would access that through our website, which is www.june.com. We can go to the next slide. We are excited to be able to partner with DEEL to serve 600 youth in this calendar year, so in 2025. In 2024, we served over 300 Seattle youth, and what we know is that our program is working for these youth, and we're excited to continue that work. Youth who work with June are seeing recovery from clinical and severe anxiety and depression within 12 sessions, which is a great opportunity for youth to come in, have that support and experience, and ensure that they get the tools that they need to be successful after therapy. We can go to the last slide. If you are interested in getting started, or you know youth that is interested in getting started, you can visit go.june.com/Seattle Youth, sorry. And that's where you would be able to fill out our referral form. You can also scan this QR code from this presentation, and that will take you right to that page as well, so that you have easy access. We would love the opportunity to work with you and with your youth. So if you have any questions or would like more information about our program, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to Lauren.
Thank you, DJ. That was rapidly fast, but awesome. Thank you. Very comprehensive. Next, I'd like to introduce our Talkspace partners, Lyra and Sarah. I'll pass it off to you.
Thank you, Amelia, so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Lyra Jackson, and I'm joined by my colleague, Sarah, who will present in a little bit. But I just want to first say all of these services that you are offering are so wonderful, and the city and the youth are so lucky to have all of you, and we're excited to be a part of this group. You can go to the next slide. You can go, okay, there you go, sorry. So for those of you who aren't familiar with Talkspace, so we have been around for over 10 years, leading the way in virtual mental health through our innovative and asynchronous message-based therapy. We have made an impact on the well-being space in the US and internationally. One of the things that drew the city of Seattle to Talkspace was the successful partnership we've had with the city of New York. In late 2023, the city of New York partnered with Talkspace to offer all 500,000 teens in the city of New York access to Talkspace services, the same services that are offered to Seattle youth at no cost. In New York, there's been over 16,000 users in the area, with 68% of users reporting an improvement on clinical scales, and we're really excited to have a very similar impact in the Seattle area. You can go to the next slide. So how does Talkspace work for Seattle? Through our partnership, anyone aged 13 to 24 has access to Talkspace therapy services at no cost, which includes unlimited messaging with the therapist and 1 30-minute live session per month with a dedicated licensed clinician. There are really 2 services that are available to Seattle residents, or 2 apps that we're going to talk about today. One is Talkspace Therapy Services, one-on-one therapy with a dedicated clinician, and then Talkspace Go, which is a self-guided app. And one thing that I want to point out is that Talkspace is not meant to be a crisis service. However, crises do come up, and our clinicians are trained in safe crisis protocol to respond to them appropriately and get the member safe in the most effective way. For Talkspace services, there's no referral, no payment information, or insurance information is needed to register and access the services. The Talkspace service described today is completely free for the eligible population. And if you want to learn more, a detailed view or demo of the Talkspace services, we have a follow-up session we're going to tell you more about after our presentation. You can go to the next slide. So I mentioned asynchronous messaging therapy. So this is part of the service that's available to Seattle residents, and this concept might be new for some, so we just want to touch base on what this is. During asynchronous therapy, therapists and clients communicate by messaging back and forth using text, video, or audio messages. Similar to face-to-face therapy, the therapist gets to know the client, and through ongoing communication, they'll work together to address challenges, set goals, and unlike traditional therapy, the client doesn't have to, or the youth doesn't have to wait for an appointment to engage in the therapeutic process, and can communicate with their therapist whenever, wherever is most convenient for the youth, whether it's in their room at night or on their commute to school or to work. They can simply log into the Talkspace app and communicate, share, ask questions, vent with their Talkspace therapist. You can go to the next slide. During asynchronous therapy, therapists and clients communicate by messaging back and forth, again, through text, video, or audio messages. And the therapist will get to know the client, set an introductory message to really let the youth know what to expect, introduce themselves, introduce the youth to therapy, explain how the process works, and share their working days and times so the members know what to expect. And really handhold them through the process, because we know this may be the person's first exposure to therapy. And members have access to their therapy chat room or Talkspace services 24/7. The provider will communicate, though, during their working days, which the member will be able to see if their therapist is working that day or not, so they know when to expect a response. And all of our therapists work 5 days a week, and it could be Monday through Friday, it could be Tuesday through Sunday, and also non-traditional hours to accommodate school schedules or shift work, and need for services during outside of 9 to 5 hours. You can go to the next slide. So one of the most incredible things about Talkspace is our clinical network. We have a network of licensed clinicians with a minimum of a master's degree that are ready and available to work with Seattle residents. Our network recruitment team is focused on diversity, which a lot of you have talked about today, and that's also a passion of ours. So that all of our members and the Seattle youth are matched to someone who is good for them, who they can feel comfortable with. We have Talkspace therapists that speak over 29 different languages and that specialize in every area. And if a member is not happy with their therapist for whatever reason, they can easily switch therapists right in the app. You can go to the next slide. We'd like to take a minute to show you how someone can sign up for Talkspace, so you can see how easy it is to register for both Talkspace therapy and Talkspace self-guided. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. For Talkspace therapy, an eligible participant would simply go to talkspace.com/Seattle, complete a really short registration process, and then get matched to a provider within 48 hours of registration. Go to the next slide. So the member will start by answering some questions about themselves, how they're doing in areas in which they'd like to work on, any preferences they have for a therapist, and then we use all of that information to match the member to a therapist who has availability and who we think would be a good fit. And once matched, the provider will also collect additional intake information right through the app, just like in a traditional outpatient setting. You can go to the next slide. So for the other service, Talkspace Self-Guided, a member would simply search Talkspace Self-Guided in the App Store or the Google Play Store and use the keyword Seattle to access the free services. Once in the app, members will have access to micro-learning modules, meditation, journaling, assessments, live and recorded workshops on a variety of topics, including body image, vaping, anxiety, communication, family conflict, all topics that are relevant for youth. You can go to the next slide. Okay, and I'm going to pass it off to Sarah to finish the presentation. Sarah, take it away.
Thank you, Lyra. And so as we are increasing our awareness and getting out into community, we are really looking for opportunities to promote Talkspace around Seattle. Could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you. So some ideas that we have in promoting Talkspace. First of all, I'm also local here to Seattle. So being national, we do have teams spread across the country, but I'm very lucky to be here in Seattle. I'm also born and raised here myself, and love this area, love the community. I love to see all the work that everyone is doing too, and just promoting mental health for me is very near and dear and passionate to passionate to me. And so, yeah, we are super excited to spread the word, and we're hoping to connect to different organizations to be able to share brochures, promotional materials. We've even been to a local high school doing like a lunch hour, just helping to talk to youth about mental health, really being like, sometimes it's that first time that they're really like, what is therapy? Having those conversations where we can, and just getting connected to different organizations as well. We're always looking for different event opportunities as well. And we know Mental Health Awareness Month is coming up too. So we're super excited to be able to partner with organizations around those ideas and collaborate as well. And we're really just hoping to expand those connections across the community to tailor support as well. And so what's really unique with us is we can customize our approach to different communities too, and target that depending on what makes sense for the organization themselves, and be able to provide support. So whether that's, like I mentioned, kind of like coming and tabling at like a lunch hour, or it's a classroom-based discussion, or there's so many different opportunities. So we're always looking for those ways to connect as well. Could you go to the next slide, please? Sweet. Thank you. And so in terms of promoting Talkspace as well, we do have a presentation. We have a sign-up link for schools and organizations to be able to sign up. And Lyra and I would love to meet with you and collaborate on those ways that we can be the most efficient. We are also planning to host a Talkspace info session for anyone who has more like questions or anything like that. That's going to be next week on April 9th at 12 and 3 p.m. And the link to join is right there. So we really hope for you all to join us as well if you have any more questions or anything for us. But thank you all so much for giving us some time to talk today. Really appreciate that.
Awesome. Thank you, Lyra, and thank you, Sarah. Wow. Okay, we've come to the end of the presenter or the provider presentations. I hope you all are excited as I am about sort of the suite of providers that we have available and to meet young people's mental health needs. So, all right, let's get into some of the FAQs before we get into the questions that came through, but we wanted to just pull out some of the sort of more glaring FAQs that usually come up when we talk about teletherapy and just therapy services in general. So parental consent, I think some of our providers have already mentioned, right? The age of consent in Washington State for mental health services is 13. Youth ages 13 to 17 can request services without parental consent, but parents can provide consent for parent-initiated services. I think a lot of you who are youth development professionals know this for like engaging in youth enrichment programs. In terms of youth privacy, all telehealth providers working with DEEL meet HIPAA requirements. In terms of provider qualifications, I think someone had also mentioned, but teletherapy or any therapy service providers practicing in Washington State must be licensed in compliance with Washington State requirements. And then evidence-based care is something else that also came up. Providers are utilizing a variety of evidence-based practices. Some I've already mentioned. This includes screening, assessments, referrals, care coordination, psychoeducational approaches, and individual and family sessions. Something else that also came up because this is, teletherapy and thinking about, young people accessing the technology required to get their telehealth services. So DEEL's currently partnering with Seattle Parks and Recreation to provide space and equipment for young people to access telehealth services at appropriately safe and confidential spaces. We hope to be piloting some of those spaces this summer with the hope of expanding in the fall and going to the rest of the year. All right, let's get into our questions. Let me just pull up those questions real quick. Just have them here, sorry. All right, we've got a bunch, so I'll just go through them and then I will attempt to answer them, and or if I feel like, providers best positioned to answer the question, please feel free to jump in. So from Teresa Everett at Atlantic Street Center. So Atlantic Street Center recognized the pipeline of therapists of color is shrinking year over year. What are the methodologies you have currently in place to address this issue and fill this need of therapists that look like the youth, particularly Black therapists? That is a super important question. What a great question. So I think for us at DEEL, partnering with organizations like Washington Therapy Fund, where I know Ashley and Jekyll had mentioned they prioritize clinician fair pay, especially for their roster of Black and other therapists of colors and clinicians. We also, obviously this is not, news to especially anybody who's in like the clinical world, but, I think there's definitely a desire from DEEL to explore professional development opportunities for therapists of colors. Things like getting connected to supervision hours, especially if like you're trying to start a private practice and trying to get the right supervision. Like supervision is not cheap, as well as, financially supporting therapists of colors with things like CEUs that also cost money, right? And being able to maintain your licensure. So, I think that there's definitely strategies that we're exploring. Oh, does someone want to jump in and pipe in and say something? No? Okay, great. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Anybody else want to sort of answer to that question at all? All right. So from Georgette Carter, I'm interested in group supports for Rainier Beach. Will groups or individual supports be in school services? I believe some of our providers are already at Rainier Beach.
I could answer really quickly. So ACRS does provide in-person school-based services for individual therapy. We are looking to expand our group services in the Seattle high schools, and we've already started with Franklin High School. So this is definitely something on our radar that we hope to offer soon.
I can reach out to Miss Carter too. I know her. My daughter attends Rainier Beach High School.
Thank you. Daniel, I also saw your hand go up real quick.
That was a mistake button. My bad.
No worries. Okay, great. Is there a partner provider that extends services to students' families? I think a couple of providers had mentioned that, but generally the answer is yes. But did any other providers want to kind of speak more to that service?
Yeah, we offer services we have another program where we have for caregivers or parents of ages 3 and under. But besides that, we also, yes, we do service the family members as well.
I'll also add, we currently have a workshop around preserving Black families. So if it's a Black identifying family, we have monthly and quarterly in-person and virtual workshops around different topics to help just promote wellness and amplify healing within Black families and really restoring what that looks like, going back to just the culture of American chattel slavery where families were split apart, Jim Crow laws, mass incarceration. And so really touching on how do we restore what the Black family looks like and how we can stay well as a collective. And the Zola Experience, they're one of our partners and they're hosting those workshops. And it's all free of charge. So I'll drop the flyer in the chat. Let me see if I can.
Awesome.
I can
Thank
drop
you,
it
Ashley,
too.
for that. Thank you,
I can
Jacquel.
drop it as well if you want me to, Ashley.
Yes, if you could drop the flyer in the chat, that'd be great.
Quickly back to the group therapy question. Amelia had posted other providers are offering group therapy through this investment as well and could do so at Rainier Beach High School and at other school partner sites. I'll follow up with you. Great. This next question, I think was mentioned earlier when Daniel was presenting, but does anyone provide supports for students with disabilities? And I guess, Georgette, if you don't mind coming off unmute, could you, do you want to kind of speak more to that question?
Yeah, so we have some students that are highly functional on the spectrum. And so parents were asking about maybe some therapeutic services for those students.
Thank you for that clarification. Does any of the providers want to sort of tackle that?
I will say for Talkspace with our asynchronous messaging platform, we have seen a benefit for a lot of students that might be like nonverbal, where messaging is a really great opportunity. Also with the therapy modality on the live sessions too, they can also choose to just engage in a live chat. So it doesn't have to be like a face-to-face conversation. They can just be messaging too. And even for students who might not identify on the spectrum, a lot of teenagers have also like just found support in that too, because sometimes being a teenager and having to talk to an adult can be super awkward for folks. And so we are able to support with unlimited messaging through that as well.
That's helpful to know. Thank you, Sarah. Hi.
Oh, sorry.
All good.
A couple of years back, we did a group at Chinook Middle School for exactly what we're talking about now. So if there was a high school identified and if someone wanted to email Ben or myself, we'd really like to do our groups that we're launching through this contract at schools that we haven't been in yet.
Thanks, Winter. And that's coming from Southwest Youth and Family Services. Just naming that. There's a lot of folks on this call. All righty. Next question. Let's keep going. Sorry. From Sophia, what is the estimated capacity as far as number of students who will be able to receive services across this program? I know in previous partnerships, the demand has been greater than the provider's availability. Have there been discussions around that? Amelia, can I punt this question to you?
Yes, of course. So great question. We definitely wanted to be able to serve all youth ages 13 to 24 in Seattle. And so that's part of why we have such a range of providers. So through Talkspace, we have very large capacity. We actually have capacity to serve up to 55,000 youth through Talkspace. And June as well also as a high capacity provider. And then for our community-based providers, that does vary across the providers, but we also can serve quite a large number of youth through the community providers. And so we really did